Third time's the charm.
Welcome to the Apex Strengthcast with your hosts, Tyler Seabrook and Anthony Krasner. This Strengthcast is brought to you by Apex Strength, strength training for everyone. Today we have Alana Lambert on, and we're going over accessories and training them with purpose. We're also going to cover the competition on the weekend, which is the Strength Fortress Team Challenge, and then the Deadlift for Depression fundraiser on Sunday. To you, Tyler.
You know, I think it's crucial to curl 4 times a week.
We all know you do.
I think we all do now.
Off program, extra 2 times.
100% raw really motivated me.
And if somebody curls
do
heavier
curls.
than you, then you've got to warm up again to see if you can curl heavier than them.
And max out every
Have
week.
you seen
Yeah.
that? Apparently, PA said we can add strict curls into competitions now.
What?
I got tagged in the post the other day. I think I forgot to tell you because I was
By
like
PA?
scared you were going to beat me.
I'm going to go in there and dominate.
So we can add in strict curl now, apparently.
Tell Will Phillips I'm coming for him.
Yeah, good luck, man.
I've got to go up to 105s though. Like.
Yeah. All right. So, Alana,
Yes.
let's touch on the competition first.
Yep.
Now, you and a number of our lifters are competing on the weekend at the Strength Fortress Challenge. So it's a team competition. Was it 4 or 5 people in a team?
I think it's 4, but we have 5.
Yep, so we've got 5 lifters, but 4. So the way the points are based, each winner in the weight class is worth a certain amount of points. Second is worth a certain amount, and so on. There's a lot of lifters now. We've got, in the morning, 3 lifters in 3 flights. And then in the afternoon, we've got 2 in 2. So yeah, we've got 5 lifters spread out through the whole day, followed by the Strength Fortress dinner, Christmas dinner. How are you feeling, Alana?
Yeah, feeling okay. Just touching on the comp, pretty excited about that as a whole. 70 or so competitors, and like 2/3 of them are females, so that's pretty awesome. Which is why we have 3 flights in the morning, which is a long day for everyone. But yeah, myself feeling the peak, but enjoying the cycle.
Well, on that note, apparently this is one of the first comps, so there's more women than men, which is a big turning point in powerlifting.
Yeah.
Well,
it's pretty
the
impressive.
PA memberships are really close to 50-50.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like really close.
And which would be the first time.
Yeah,
Probably
well,
the
it's
history
the
of
highest
powerlifting,
concentration.
yeah.
It's awesome. It's like so good to see so many women, and like supporting women as well, like not just super competitive or whatnot, but actually everyone's pretty happy that everyone else is succeeding, and like there's a lot of friendships, and it's really nice.
It's also getting rid of that stigma that like women, if they train weights, they get big and bulky, where it's
Yeah.
just not true. And then, it's a stereotype that's dying. What are you laughing about?
Yeah,
Nothing.
Anthony
Anthony doesn't agree.
doesn't.
Don't say that. Don't put words in my mouth. Alana, what are you hoping to hit on the weekend? Do you have goals? I know it's been like a hard finish to the training cycle. You've tweaked your back a little bit. But what are your goals? I know you would have talked to your coach about it.
Yeah.
So be realistic.
Yeah.
Let's
I
have a
mean,
listen.
that's a really good point. Like coming into this comp, this has honestly been like a massive year, finishing uni, training, just the whole lot. So I went in with very, very high expectations, and the beginning of the training cycle was going according to plan and was doing really well. And to be honest, I didn't finish it off badly, but there are factors that have come into play that mean that I am not on 100% the top of my game. So yes, my coach Anthony and I had a little chat when he sort of realized I was going in with really, really big numbers in mind, that sure, on an amazing day, everything goes according to plan, maybe I'll get them, but maybe I won't. And there's no point expecting nothing less, and like knowing that I would actually feel bad if I got less than that.
Comes down to managing expectations, right? Which is
Yeah.
the job of the coach, because lifters get carried away. I do it. And I need this big guy over here to manage that for me when I'm like, Tyler, I want to do, a 350 squat. And he's like, hey man, do 330 first.
Yeah, like 2.5 kilos as a PB is still a PB, and you should be just as proud of it as anything else.
And a form PB is a PB.
Exactly.
If you don't grind out a weight and it looks nice, like and nice and smooth,
Yeah.
then that's a PB. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you go in and you don't hit a PB, but you gave it your best, that's also good, because it's not just about the numbers on the bar; it's about giving
Yeah.
it a red hot go.
And also the experience as well. Like, you're going to go into some comps where you're going to total less than you did previously, or even a couple comps you're going to, like, you know, you've had like a little injury.
A powerlifting career is
in this training block, and that's going to affect you on, like, you know, the platform regardless, right? And you can still PB and still do your biggest total, but you also, that whole managing expectations is
People
important.
don't realize that it's like a powerlifting career is peaks and valleys, right? It's not always up and it's not always down. Sometimes it feels like it's always down. Like, I know it's been hard for you this last block, Alana. Not picking on you, but, you know, it's just you're the only one out of us three that are near competition. But, you know, sometimes when it's going bad, it feels like it's going to go bad forever, but it doesn't. And sometimes when it's going good, you know, you forget that it doesn't go good forever, and that, you know, sometimes it is 2 steps forwards, 1 step back. Sometimes it's the complete opposite, though. Like, you know, you can have a really good year where you're just smashing personal bests and everything's coming along nicely, or you can have a year where you stall. Like, you know, and the higher level you get, the more that happens.
Yeah. But it's not wasted. It's not a wasted year either. Like you said, form PBs, right? If you have found something about your technique that you're like, hey, this always seemed to feel weird or wrong, or, you know, just consistently this thing wasn't working in a cycle, and you figure that out, like, your numbers may not increase by the end of that training cycle or that year, but you're still making improvements. You're still working. You're still in the gym doing the sessions and lifting the weights, and that's going to pay off eventually.
Anthony and I have both gone through that in the sense that, like, you know, for me, I was like low bar squatting for numerous cycles, and we come to the realization that
like 3 years.
For years of my whole lifting career, pretty much. And it wasn't until this year where it was like, all right, we need to just change it. So I went medium bar. So basically, you got to start all over again, and you got that base still, but you need to think of it as you're not going to PB straight away. You're gonna, you know, it's gonna take a while, but the whole point is you want to make the movement look good, and eventually, you know, it'll be a better lift in the long run.
Sometimes you have to step back to move forward, right? Like, you look at when I used to bench really close, then wide I worked, and I'm not max grip. I went max grip, then had to move it back in a little. You know, it all takes time to learn. You know, I feel like I would have saved a lot of time and like, you know, heartache with dropping lifts if I had to switch to hook grip years ago, and I've just done it. But it's just part of powerlifting journey.
And in that as well, you've trained your grip, and so your grip's gotten stronger, which is going to have more, you know, carryover anyway. So you're not like losing everything, but there's like a learning curve that you have to go through.
Sometimes it feels like you are, and that's important.
It can definitely feel
always
like,
look forward.
Yeah, it can definitely feel like you're almost failing, especially if you do let it just stick in your mind, like if you've missed a lift or whatnot. But it is just reflect, really, just trying to always be like, okay, I was here. I am actually here now. I have, sure, my numbers haven't gotten bigger, but I can see this is different and this is better, and maybe this is still in progress, but, you know, you are still progressing in one 100%. Way or another.
I don't remember if I touched on it with you or in a podcast with Tyler, but I think it just, you know, it's really important people realize, and I'll say it again, you know, one bad session, one bad week, one bad month, one bad cycle, one bad year doesn't make your powerlifting career. You know, whether it's a cycle, it's a lift, a cycle, you know, a week, a month, a year, you know, it's not a big deal in powerlifting. Like, a year's a long time, right?
Yeah.
But a year's not long out of 15 years.
But exactly, in the grand scheme of the sport, you can be doing it for decades. If you do it smart,
100%.
if you if you take care of your body, if you just approach it like with thought, you can keep going for decades. There's nothing stopping that. Look at like the end of the like masters range competitors. They are having a blast, putting up some amazing PBs still, and there's nothing stopping them.
100%.
It's like people have got to go through injuries, and more, like most elite lifters are going to go through some kind of injury. You know, it doesn't ruin their career. Just, you know, changes, and they adapt, and
you make the changes
and progress. Because usually speaking, they've gotten injured for a reason, right? They're doing something wrong, and even if it is that have snapped themselves up, they just got to take more precautions and look after their body more.
That's it. Now, on that competition on Saturday, we have a few lifters. So Alana's one of them. Now, this is Alana's second ever competition. She's got a real bright future in this sport. But we have a lot of people competing that have really bright futures in the sport. So all these people that started training, you know, when we opened Apex Strength in January or February, these guys came in, you know, so we've got like Casey, she's strong as hell. She
There she is.
came here riddled with injuries, and it took a while to hammer it. I say a while, but it wasn't even that long, right? When you're talking powerlifting, it was months, like maybe 4 or 5 months. And I mean, she's just gonna dominate, like
now she's PBing and training.
Like she just did a 125 squat, which is a PB, and it looked like an opener. She's a massive bencher and she's a massive deadlifter. She's going to build a total. She's someone to look out for in the next year or two. I think she's going to progress really fast. We found a training style that works for her, keeps her injury free. So I'm really excited to see what she does, but I'm also really excited for what this means about her future in the sport. And then we've got, Charlie. She's strong as hell. She's making a comeback to the sport. She took a while off. So she came here and signed up, and this is her second training cycle with us. And, she's a 72 kilo lifter, and she's strong as hell, man. Like, squatting in the mid to high 160s, deadlifting the same. Like, she's crazy strong, and she'll do some damage at nationals next year. We have Will. He's a junior 105, still new to sport, second competition, but he's set to do some big lifts. Definitely massive form PBs, and there will be PBs there. We just switched him to sumo not long ago, so I think he'll get close to his conventional PB, but it'll look a lot better. He's definitely got a squat PB in him. Like, his squats are looking better than ever. Yeah, for sure. We'll chip away at his bench, and there'll be improvements there. Now, the big one that I think a lot of people are excited for is, including me, and I know I'm a bit biased. I'm biased for all my lifters, but it's not every day you see a 58 kilo human squat over 250 kilos. And that's Kevin. So Kevin Gray, and I've got his attempts. He's doing big jumps, but he'll probably, I think we're going to attempt above the world record. So it won't be a world record because it's not done in an international meet, but that'll be really good to watch. But also, more importantly, we love the total. Total's what wins competitions, and his bench has come a long way, and so has his deadlift. So they'll do really well. I think we've got a really strong team. We're not fussed on who places where. We're not going in with we're not adding the pressure of, guys, you need to win. Like, that's not the main goal for us. It's, everyone gets that comp experience, has a good day. A really good way to end the year for all our lifters and keep them motivated coming into next year, right? Because I know a lot of people lose motivation over, the holiday period when there's a lot of drinking and eating and time off. People take some time off, and it can be hard to come back into the swing of things. But all these guys are going to do really well, and that'll keep them motivated through the next year. So I'm really excited for that.
And it's good that by the time you listen to this podcast, the competition will already be done. So you can go and look up the lifts and the different people and see how they all went.
Look on the Apex Powerlifting Instagram, and they'll be on there. That's the gym's Instagram. And then on the Sunday after this big competition, after this Christmas dinner, after loading and spotting all day, we've got the deadlift for depression at Obsidian Strength. So that's Colouring Clouds is the organisation. And we've got a few guys there too. So Tyler, we have Nick and Alex.
Yeah, Alex.
They're both first time dipping their toes in.
I didn't know Nick was doing it. That'll be fun.
Yeah, because we had that rule, if he ever went off program, he had to leave the gym.
Yeah.
So he was like really worried. He's like, "Can I do it?" I'm like, "Yeah, you could
Anthony
do it."
permission to do the smallest addition to his program, even like an accessory. He'd like, "Anthony, can I do it?" So he's done really well.
Because when he came to the gym, he had the habit of PBing every week, and then I was like, "No, you need to get on a program." And he's like, how am I going to progress if I don't lift heavy? Like, if I don't do max effort every week at max attempts.
Dude,
he's so strong. Like, I'm kind of scared.
Yeah.
And he got that far without getting injured.
Too. He's
21?
If that.
Yeah, he's 21. Yeah. I was like, wow, I didn't realize how young you were.
He's a beast, man. And he's a 120.
Yeah, he's coming for Bastion Ferris.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And then Alex...
he's going to overtake.
And then Alex is 16? 17?
15,
16, yeah.
Wow.
He, massive deadlift.
Yeah, huge.
So that's a deadlift only event on Sunday. So we've got those two. Oh, we've got Steph. She's competing. Now she's also, a massive deadlifter. Now we've been doing some off-season training, so this is a bit of fun. We've again managed expectations. She doesn't expect any big PBs or anything, but she's going there for fun. Everyone's doing it for a good cause. Your boy is doing it as well, but I'm doing it with a deadlift bar and straps. which is going to be interesting because I've never used a deadlift bar before. So it'll either go really good or really bad.
It'd be fun either way.
And the day after coaching all day.
I think there'd be better carryover going that way rather than deadlift bar to a power bar.
Well, no, it's definitely more carryover, but what gets people is the whip, apparently. So because at the top, it kind of goes up and down and it oscillates, right? So it throws you forward, but it's not a sanctioned meet or anything. So, you know, I already talked to the Obsidian guys. I was like, hey, so there's no refs. I can hitch. And he's like, look, if you really want to, you can hitch. Like, no one's going to stop you. And I'm like, oh, all right, good. Like, I'll use the deadlift bar.
Oh, my gosh.
That's good. And we got Trent Ross down there, so he doesn't train with us, but it's done on pound for pound strength, so how many times your body weight. And they've got some cool prizes that I'm not going to win because Trent is there. So he's like 94 kilos. He'll probably deadlift 330, 340.
Oh, my gosh.
But he's a cheater. He does sumo. So really
Are they still basing on the Wilks coefficient?
No.
So just pound for pound.
Yeah.
Just pound for pound.
Interesting.
Because if it was Wilks, me and him were really close, or him and I. But on pound for pound, well, he's doing like 3.5 plus times body weight.
You're in trouble there.
yeah. I'm like, I don't really feel like trying a 400 kilo deadlift because it's not going to move. That's the only way I'd win, if that. No, I'd probably need to do more.
Yeah.
It's so easy to beat a heavier guy pound for pound, so you're at a disadvantage there for sure.
Yeah, that's the story I'm sticking to.
Yeah. But obviously still credit to Trent and his ability
he's
to
strong
deadlift.
as, man. Like 320 deadlifting comp on a Eleiko bar at 90, under 94. Like, he's strong as hell.
It's crazy.
So, next thing we want to talk about, Tyler?
Accessories and the importance of accessories, the carryover to the compound movements, the timing between sets. A big thing that me and Anthony have brought in is no social media between sets in accessories, because the problem is people end up taking the gaps they would for a squat or deadlift, and then they lose that intensity.
So Incredible on Instagram is the one that gave me that idea. He posted about it. He was like, his sessions are 30 to 45 minutes slower, faster now. I was like, that's a really good idea, because, you know, when you're doing your main movements, you know, you need those minutes, 4 or 5 minutes between when you're going heavy. On your accessories, you don't need that, right? And it's something that a lot of people do is they treat them like, they're doing an 80% squat. And they take 5-6 minutes, and it really limits their gains. And, the results they get from doing those accessories are kind of not pointless, but you're not milking them for what they are at that point. So it's something I came to Tyler when I saw it on his Instagram. I'm like, hey, this is a really good idea. And Tyler was like, oh, man, that makes so much sense. So as soon as we're done our main movements, the phone goes, well, I put mine on charge. And then, I used to be struggling to finish before 4 o'clock, starting at 12:30. Now I'm finishing, with half hour to spare. So it is about half an hour. It wipes off 40 minutes.
It's just so easy to fall into that bad habit of like having massive breaks, because you go through like, say, your heavy squats or deadlifts first, and then you go into accessories, and then you start treating them the same when you should be like having only a minute or two rest in between sets, and be supersetting if you've been programmed to superset.
If you need 4 or 5 minutes between curls sets, something's wrong.
Well, that's it. I mean, just look at like essentially what accessories are even in your program for. Like, why are they there? They shouldn't just be randomly selected accessories put in because they look cool or because they're fun to do. Like, they're in your program because they're your weaknesses, and they're designed to build up like the bits that are lacking in the compound movements, in the squats, deadlifts, bench. Like, if you aren't pushing the intensity on them, they're just not progressing as fast as you need them to carry over into the compound movements.
Oh, 100%. So I think it's the reason I always like, I don't know, a lot of time I'm on people's back if they're being lazy. And I'm like, do your set. And everyone's like, oh, you just want me to get out of here? I'm like, well, no, but, your session should be taking an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you're here for 4. Like, all right, an hour and a half of that is squatting and benching. But then where's the other hour and a half? Like, you don't need an hour and a half to finish the rest of your session. So the way I put it is like, and then what I've been really pushing lately is training, your accessories and everything with purpose, right? So don't go in and do your back work with 10 minutes. Like you said, Alana, there's a reason they're there. And, you want to milk those results as much as you can. Like, you don't want to have to do 10 sets in one session when you can get the same from 4 or 5.
Yeah, and we endorse, like, for listeners to try it out, because, I mean, you'll notice straight away that you're starting getting DOMs again, and also your work capacity gets better. It probably
It's a good way to not have to do cardio.
Yeah, it probably has carryover to actually just having a better body composition in the long run as well. So definitely try it out.
That's the other thing, is that, you know, and I assume some people are going to get offended by this, but the age of everyone that's a powerlifter just being a fat powerlifter is over, right? We know now, back in the day, you know, and this isn't, again, not for everyone, but, you know, bigger is stronger. That mindset's changed, but it's right in a way. The more muscular you get in your weight class, the stronger you're going to be. A bigger muscle is a stronger muscle. A stronger muscle is going to be potentially a bigger muscle, right?
Mass is mass, yeah.
So yeah, well, you know, you might not like doing your flies and your pull-ups and everything. You've got to train them with purpose, because it's going to make you a better lifter. If you bring that chest up, you bring that back up, you know, you're going to be more stable through your lifts. Your pecs are going to be stronger.
Less risk of injury.
Less risk of injury. You know, your goal shouldn't just be to get stronger. It should be to get more jacked, to get more muscular, to lose body fat, put on some muscle. You know, if you're a flabby 84 kilo lifter, well, try to be a hard 84 kilo lifter. If you're a, you know, chubby 105, try to be a less chubby 105, and you're going to be a better lifter for it. Fill out your weight classes, because what's going to happen is someone that's leaner than you and more muscular than you is going to come in and wipe the floor with you. Not all the time. Obviously, there's exceptions to the rule. But the more muscular you can get, the better lifter you're going to be. Especially in the future. It's all about, you know, looking forward to the future, and you're going to have more potential.
The best of your ability, yeah.
Exactly. And it happens with new lifters a lot. They come in, they get on a program that's really low volume, and they just do the main lifts 3 times a week, right? Which is fine. You'll get stronger, but you'll hit a wall, and then you're going to have to take the time to do all this anyway in the future and build more muscle. And it's harder then. Do it from the start, you know. Do accessories, do a lot of volume, do a lot of reps, train like a bodybuilder. You should be training like a bodybuilder a lot more than most people do. And by what I mean by that isn't doing bro splits, but I mean taking short rests, doing high reps. Like, so a big goal this year for me was to bring my arms up and bring my back up. My back was always, you know, pretty big, but it could have been bigger. My lats were a big weakness, and bring my quads up. So now I'm doing, you know, 20s and 25s on quad, back, and arm work, and not exclusively. I do a lot of 8s, 10s, 15s, but, you know, don't be afraid to hit the upper end of those reps and really take those short rest periods. Like,
you can never have a back that's too big.
Yeah, exactly.
On that as well, like, as important as accessories are within the comp cycle, you have to do off-comp cycles as well.
Well, yeah,
You've
off-seasons
got to have
as well.
Off-seasons. You have to do, like, that's where the accessories will increase even more, because you know, that's the time you really take to work on your weaknesses, really building up everything. You don't have a comp in sight yet. Like, that's where you're doing as much work there as you can. And obviously, yes, in the comp cycle, treating it just as important still. But I know, like, a lot of people can be tempted to not do off seasons. So,
well, they think that they're pointless, but it's like, in the long run, it's exactly what your body needs.
Exactly.
Very valuable, yeah.
I do, like, mainly off season, right? Like, yeah. So I'm just watching Casey try to rack these weights quietly.
Really quietly.
It's not working out for her. So sorry to attack you like that. You know, the reason I maintained so much strength on my cut was because it was all off season. I wasn't worried about, you know, PBing, but I was worried about retaining as much muscle as I could. And it worked out really well.
Yeah, and people wonder, like, oh, how'd you stay so strong? You must be on drugs. Did you fail that test?
I fucking worked hard.
You worked hard,
Did we get that test result back?
Well, and you know what? I assume I've passed because, 1, I'm not on drugs.
Yeah.
And 2, I haven't heard anything. It's been about a month.
But it's proving that point that people think they can't retain that strength, but to an extent they can. If he went down to 94, then yeah, he would lose a lot.
Is that a challenge?
Look,
you wouldn't do it.
You're going to do an off-season, and your 3 main lifts aren't going to be like your PBs at the end of your off season. Like, you're not squat, bench, deadlifting as much as you would be during a comp cycle. So it's not gonna really carry over till the end of your off season as well. But you'll pick it up a lot faster when you come back into a comp cycle because you've done the hard work. You've done the weaknesses for so long.
Yeah. Are you like looking at me like that for affirmation, or
No?
Are you like, am I?
I just got
am
distracted
right?
by Casey ranking weights
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. It's sorry if you can hear that. We were supposed to do this podcast at like before 12, and we started like a bit after 12, and by a bit I mean like quarter past. And then we sat there talking about Rocky and like social justice in like movies from the 80s for like 20 minutes. So we're running a bit behind schedule. But that's okay. Where were you at? Sorry.
Just saying the main lifts carry over.
Oh, 100%. You bring up your quads, you bring up your glutes, you bring up posterior chain, everything's going to progress, right? And like Tyler said, you know, you can never have too big of a back. There's never been a strong person that's had a weak back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's also, that is a hard thing to deal with when you come into the regular world. I think outside of powerlifting, like you get a lot of times where, I remember really funny, like one time in like a random social situation, just being like, oh yeah, I do powerlifting. And some guy was like, oh, I can tell that by your back. And I was like, in a random social situation, this seems like you're trying to insult me, but I'm actually really proud.
How's that?
Like,
insulting?
no, that's what I mean. I was like, thanks. Like, I've just done 8 weeks of an off season to get it huge, so I appreciate that.
Is it because you were rear lat spreading in front
Yes.
of him? No, that's it. And off seasons are very important. Something definitely. I mean, I know a lot of people that do them, but again, you get those people that run kind of online programs, which are fine. There's a lot of really good online programs, but they just run back-to-back comp cycles. And again, or you get people that do those really, I'm not gonna name programs, but do those real low volume beginner programs, and they just shoot themselves in the foot in the future, you know, and they stall hard, and when they stall hard.
It's like
right? And it's like, well, man, because you know you haven't gained any size, like you've just maybe a little bit in the legs and everything, but you know, putting on muscle everywhere is going to help.
And it goes back to that importance of having a coach or having someone who programs who knows what they're doing for you, is because whatever gets you a total of 400 isn't going to be the same program that gets you 500 or 600 or 650 or 670.
8 or 9.
Yeah, or 8 or 9, depending on, you know, whatever weight class, or if you're
We're
a freak.
not all there, Anthony.
Yeah.
We're not all there.
And another note on accessories as well is the importance of not doing accessories that hurt. So if you do something and it grinds your elbows, switch it out for something that still hits the same muscle group.
Hundreds and hundreds of accessories.
There's so many ways of variating the same accessory, and do it in a way where it's pain free. You still get the work in.
You're telling me I don't need to deal with shoulder pain?
So yeah, for people, like, don't think, oh, I need to deal with this pain in my shoulders or in my back or in my arms, when you don't. Just switch it out and do something else, because there's always something else you can do.
I had. Oh, sorry, Alana.
Like, again, another benefit of having a coach, if you go up to them and say you don't have that glossary of accessories in your own brain, you say, hey, I'm getting elbow pain when I do this, they can be like, oh, sweet, just change the angle or change where you do it, or like just literally can rattle off 10 different things for you to do instead, rather than just pushing through pain that you don't need to have.
Well, and I had that with dumbbell bench and incline dumbbell bench. Now, my shoulders, if you guys remember earlier this year, my shoulders earlier this year were wrecked. Like, I had a shoulder impingement all the time, but it'd go away near comp, then come back, and it was just process of elimination was throwing it up. It was dumbbell bench, flat dumbbell bench made it worse. Then incline, you know, still flared up. So I took those out, switched out incline dumbbell bench for incline football bar bench, and then I slipped out flat dumbbells for, like, you know, heavy dips and everything. And now my shoulders are completely fine, whereas, you know, someone else might be the opposite. Dips hurt their shoulders really bad. Like, I know you, Tyler, you know, they can hurt your shoulders and they can hurt your chest heaps. And that happens to some people.
My days off, it's like I get like random pains in like the cartilage in my sternum. And it's just like, then you have to weigh up, okay, is this movement worth it? Is the risk versus reward, you know, worth 100%.
And there's so many other things you can do. That's the thing. Like I said, like, well, as much as I love dumbbell bench, there's no need for me to be doing it, right? It's like, but military press is something I do a lot that doesn't ever play up on me. But then overhead dumbbell press, even if I'm seated or anything, plays up with my shoulders. Like, and you know, it could be, say, for form, or also I have terrible mobility, so it's probably got something to do with the positioning I'm getting in. But it's just, we can kind of take that away until I'm at a point where I can do that.
Yeah, another example of it is, and I've out of experience done this, but so skull crushers with the EZ bar, most people do them with a bar, but for me it grinds my elbows and I get really bad tendonitis. As soon as I switch it out for a dumbbell, it just changes the angles of the elbows. That just slide them out where it stops grinding the elbows, and then I can do my sets with no issue at all. And I'm still hitting the same muscle group, still getting the work in, but pain-free.
It just comes down to personalising everything to yourself and, making sure everything's the right fit for you, which if you have a coach should be doing that. If they're not, get a different coach.
And don't be scared to ask the coach.
That's the hard bit about the online programs, right? Because you've got a template.
There's a really good online coach. I think his name's Anthony Krasner.
Krasner? Really?
He's making a name for himself at the moment in online coach. I just heard about him.
Never heard of him.
Sounds like a pleb.
Well, I heard he got a guy to like an 862 total pretty
Probably
easy
a
after a
scam
quad
or
test.
something, right, Tyler?
Yeah, he doesn't have any strong athletes anyway.
No.
Yeah, I don't think any of them total over 600.
Just hate when strong lifters think that they can be coaches too.
Oh, all right, now you're getting hurtful.
No, of course.
Hey, I work for you. I work for Casey. She's over there. Look how strong she is. Didn't work.
Oh,
so
she did a
use
bicep flex. That was
No,
really good.
It's
Casey.
a work in progress.
All right. I think we should leave it there because these lifters are getting a bit antsy, and we are in the middle of a gym session. No one was here before, and now we have people squatting.
We should actually get to a point where we see how many people can be lifting while doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Dude, the sound quality would be terrible. So, anything you guys want to add before we finish off?
Well, good luck, Alana, Casey, Charlie, Kevin, and Will.
Yeah,
Will,
and all of our deadlifters on Sunday as
Good
well.
luck to the deadlifters after
It's going to be a big
support a Combo Day.
weekend. Everyone's going to be very tired, but
It's going to be exciting
It's gonna be
to
fun.
talk about all the different experiences as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Well, massive thanks. Ooh.
Oh, so the next podcast, we'll definitely probably make note of it for the Sunday after it.
Oh, 100%. We'll have a guest on as well for that one. Let us know what topics you want us to go into, and if you have anyone that in the local area that you'd want to come on, tag them and everything. It'll be good. Thank you for listening. This has been the Strengthcast.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.